Hello from the city of London, and welcome to the Serotonin podcast. I'm Seema, I'm the host here, and we are all about inspiring you to action your three G's to grow, glow, and go after pursuing your purpose. And today I have the wonderful Busola with me to to be our guest. Busola, can you please introduce yourself to us?
Hello, and thank you for having me on, Seema. I'm really excited about this conversation today. Just a bit of an introduction to myself. Yeah, so I am Busola. I work within the tech space. So I've always been in the tech space. It's been a bit of a journey, actually. I started off on the hardware side of things, working for a large tech company, and then I kind of moved into software within the financial crime compliance space, which is
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah, super interesting, and the ID and fraud space. So yeah, that was really interesting. And then before I knew it, I found myself within the digital experience space, which has been super interesting. I've been learning along the way. And then outside of work, do you know what? I love to do a lot of activities. So, game shows that you see on the TV and then they
Yeah.
do, yeah, game show versions in real life. So I've done like Crystal Maze. I'm due to like go on the Cube. Well, not the TV
Wait,
version.
like go on actual game shows, like on
No, I
TV?
wish. It's like you can they reproduce them, and you can just do them as an activity. So Crystal Maze is one. You can do the
Oh,
cube. Yeah, I love that type of stuff. So I do. And then like activities, outside activities like Go Ape. I like a good escape room as well. I'm not very good at them, but I love that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm very activity driven, but then I'm also partial to a good like afternoon tea or brunch. I love doing that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's a bit about me.
nice. It's very good to hear that you've had your fair share of experiences in the tech space. And are you liking tech? Do you feel like tech is the industry for you?
Do you know what I do? Because it's ever evolving, it's always changing. But what's key for me is I think there are different like sectors within tech, if that makes sense. So I found the financial crime compliance space so interesting. And then when I moved into digital experience, it's just opened my eyes up to a whole new world. So when you can um, like have expertise in one area that you're really interested in, that's kind of, yeah, I love doing that. So yeah, I like it. I see myself here for some time, I think. Yeah.
Okay. And beyond your role, I was actually going to ask you to then tell us more about you beyond your role, which will lead me into my next question. But I didn't know this about you, that you're into like the likes of the Crystal Maze,
Oh yeah.
escape rooms, very fun. And Busala, you have a very fun personality. Honestly, I feel like you're like a star. You just shine. Like when you're walking across the office, your personality radiates. So
Oh,
I
thank
love that about
you.
you. I think you're very authentic.
Thank
But
you.
Busola, how would you say you are really? Like, how are you truly doing? And what's been top of mind for you lately? What are you thinking about in life?
Oh my gosh, that's a big question. So, how am I? Do you know what? I am good. I think I'm very much in a space where I'm pushing myself past my boundaries and doing things that I've wanted to do that might make me feel a little bit uncomfortable, but I'm going to do it anyway. And so it's been a journey to get myself there. I do a YouTube series, and for me, for instance, that was really me pushing past my comfort zone to do something like that. And then even moving into a new industry, as I say, digital experience for me, it's a whole new world. And so I think doing all of these things that are outside of my comfort zone, they bring me joy, but I'm also learning so much. And I'm one of those, that is something that's key for me, like consistently learning something new. I think I would get bored, and then don't really have satisfaction if I wasn't doing that. So yeah, I think the phase that I'm in now, it feels exciting because I'm just learning so many new things and I'm doing things that I probably would never have done before.
Mm, I
Yeah,
love the word exciting.
yeah.
Um, and so tell the audience more about Trailblazers. I'm a big fan, and I love the mission behind it. But please share.
Yeah, of course. So that's a YouTube series that I started this year. And the way it came about actually was it was the tail end of last year, and I was thinking about what do I want to do to celebrate Women's History Month. And, Women's History Month is all about celebrating the contributions of women, amplifying underrepresented voices and really trying to inspire the next generation. And I was thinking to myself, well, how am I going to, like, with that, those things being key, how am I going to do that? And I just thought, you know what I'm going to do? There are so many amazing women doing so many amazing things. I'm going to spotlight them. And so I thought I'm going to find women. I really wanted to be intentional about the guests that I had on there. And so I thought I'm going to find women that are doing amazing things in their career, and I want to spotlight them. I want to show their amazing contributions, what they've done in their career, but also let them share their learnings with others, so that other people can take that and learn from that. So it's been an all women lineup, and I've had so many amazing guests on there. I've had women that have been in corporate C-suite, women that have, so to speak, made it to the top of the ladder, but then actually they weren't necessarily fulfilled by that. And so they left the corporate C-suite and now they're doing something else. I've had women that are still, working in their normal jobs and talking about the things that they've experienced through those, through their career, that I think other women and men or anyone could probably relate to. And so it's just been amazing. I've met so many fantastic people. I've learned so much. I've been able to push myself past my comfort zone. And I feel like I've been able to put out something of good quality that people can actually take something from. So I think you should check it out. Little plug.
Yes, everyone check it out. And so you said you were very intentional about your guests.
Yeah.
How would you say you approached the majority of your guests? And also, I'd love to hear who would be a dream guest for you to
Oh,
invite
so how did I approach my guests? Well, I think there are a few things here. So there are women, you probably follow some. So I follow certain people on LinkedIn, for instance, and I see their content and I think this is amazing. So that's how I found some of the guests that I thought this is amazing. I also have amazing women in my network, people that I've worked with. So I actually had someone that still works in a previous company, and she's just such a fantastic role model. So that's somebody that I've worked with or been in the same organization as. But then I also know people through their network that know people that would be ideal. So I tapped into different areas, and then, to be honest with you, when it comes to reaching out to them, I literally just send them a message and I'm just open with them. I'm like, I love what you do on, usually because I've already been consuming their content. So I'll just be like, I love the information that you share here, or what you've done here. Maybe I've been following them and I know about their career and what they've been doing. So I will, just send them an email, and I will just tell them what I'm actually doing, in terms of, I want to do this YouTube series, or I'm doing a YouTube series. I'd love to spotlight you. And that's how I reach out. And you know what? One thing I've learned is some people respond and some people don't. And I've realized that's fine. You just roll with it. It's amazing when you get responses. If some people, I think I was just talking about the YouTube series, and just
Yeah.
me going off into a tangent as I do, kind of what I've learned and how I reached out to those guests. So as I mentioned, I have women that I consume their content, and so I reached out to them, and then there are
You
other.
shoot your shot, see what happens.
Pardon?
Sorry, I cut you off again. But essentially, you shoot your shot. If you get a
Exactly,
response, you get a response.
exactly,
If you don't,
exactly. And you know what? You just keep on pushing.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. I love that. And would you say that initially maybe you had a bit of fear around going for it and starting Trailblazers, or did you not struggle with that? Like, did you have any doubts around, oh, what are people gonna think? How do I push my? Because you said it's you leaving your comfort zone. So how did you really push yourself to do it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it was definitely out of my comfort zone. So I definitely thought, oh, should I do this? What will people think? But then I had to, do you know what? some people say things to you in your career and they don't realize how it's going to impact you. And I had a manager once and he was giving me feedback, and one of his pieces of feedback was, you always operate at the edge of your comfort zone. And I was like, wow, that's so interesting that you've observed that, because I think that was true, but it's something I'd done subconsciously. But after he gave me that piece of feedback, it's something that I do consciously. So now I think, okay, you want to do this thing. I'm a bit scared. I'm a bit worried, but you know what? I'm going to do it anyway. Because I also feel like genuinely greatness does come on the other side of discomfort. So you have to push yourself through certain things. But when you get the outcome, or, you know, whatever you create out of it, it will just feel so amazing. And so I I did worry about what people will think, but then I also thought, what people? Like, who is it you actually care about
Yeah.
what they think? And the fact that I couldn't answer that um, made me realize that no, you just need to do this anyway. And I also realized that the people that I probably do care about their opinions would probably be those that are quite close to me. And so they're never,
Oh, really?
yeah, maybe like just people that you're close to, like maybe like my family or something like that.
Oh, as in like you value their
Oh,
perspective.
absolutely. Yeah, I value their perspective. But then you also think that those are the same people that would be pushing you, telling you, you need to go for this, you need to do this. So I always think no matter what somebody is doing, when you worry about the opinions of others, you need to think about what people and why do you care? And usually you're going to find that you don't need to worry about those people. Also, do you know what? Somebody did an experiment once. She said she went out to eat by herself, and she thought that people would like look at her strangely. And she said nobody cared. Nobody was paying attention to what she was doing. You're not the main character in anybody else's story. Nobody really cares that much about what you're doing. So just do it. Just get on with it and just do it. And that's the mantra that I live by for myself. It's like, I need a good reason as to why I'm not doing something. If not, then you need to literally go and do this.
If to your point, if anything, I find people who do things on their own so cool.
Yeah,
Like if I see someone in a restaurant eating on their own, I think they do look like the main character of their life. Like
yeah,
I'm like, yes,
yeah,
if like I'm like, you go girl, enjoy that meal. And it's so bold. I think
yeah.
it's inspiring. Like, yeah, go. I think, what do you think of solo dates? Do you go on solo dates?
Oh my gosh. So as you were talking, I was just thinking about that, because I thought to myself, I feel the same. Like you see, so you might be out with friends or and you're eating and you're like, oh my goodness, I'd love to go out by myself. Or do you know one thing I want to do by myself? So no, I don't do solo dates. I do want to though. But one thing I want to do is go to the cinema by myself.
Have you never done that?
No,
It's the
I've
best. It's
never.
so, and you know why I personally like it a lot? Because I'm a very sentimental person
Yeah.
and I like, if there's like an emotional movie, I like to cry,
Ah,
but
I love
for
that.
some reason I can't get myself to cry if there's someone next to me.
No.
Like I'm just conscious of the fact, it's not that I care for them to see me cry, but I just don't know why. I'm like, something inside me almost like blocks it.
Really?
So when I'm on my own, I can just like loud like a waterfall, like and it's just so comfy and it's
Yeah.
so fun. Definitely go to the cinema on your
I
own.
think this,
And you don't have
yeah,
to worry on anyone.
yeah, this conversation is going to make me take that step. I'm going to do it, Seema. I've been honest, I've been wanting
Today
to do
you
it.
have to book something for
And
yourself this weekend,
yeah,
Busola.
this is a call to
It's
action.
a sign. What would you want to do though? So you said cinema. Is there anything else you have in mind?
Do you know what? Okay, so one thing I feel like I should have done before that I haven't done is like solo traveling.
Ooh,
Yeah.
we've talked about this.
Yeah, do you know what? Okay, no, to be fair, last year, was it last year? I did do a solo trip to Sweden by myself.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
traveling.
exactly. So that was the first one, and it's the only one I've done thus far. But I really enjoyed it. And actually, in Sweden, I did take myself out to dinner. I enjoyed my own
Yeah.
company. Yeah. So I think if one thing I would like to do is more travel alone, maybe. And it doesn't have to be far. It doesn't have to be like on the other side of the world. Just maybe, yeah, some countries that are local or something. Maybe do some more
Yeah.
solo traveling. So yeah, I think if I were to think of those that I would really like to do, it'd be a solo cinema date and maybe a few more trips by myself.
what country would you want to go to first?
Oh, if it's by myself, I
Yeah.
don't. Maybe like, I don't know. Maybe like a Denmark or something, or a Copenhagen.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
that's a vibe.
yeah,
Copenhagen is so cute, and it's not it's not far from Stockholm. So I guess if you've told yourself you can go that distance, you can also go
yeah.
somewhere similar.
Exactly, exactly.
Did you go to Stockholm in Sweden?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, yeah. I admire people that go to like, I don't know, other continents by themselves, like really far. Because I love traveling. I've traveled to so many countries. Um,
Hmm.
but I don't know, because it just feels far for no other reason than it feels far. I think I would be scared to do it by myself, which
Why?
I don't know, just I think maybe because it just feels far.
What about it feels far?
The distance.
I mean, literally speaking, the distance. But what about the distance? Like, what is scaring you?
I literally think it's just traveling that far away by myself, nobody around, nobody with me, nobody around me, completely different culture. I think it's more that kind of thing. I could do it. The funny thing is, I think if I did it, I would have a blast. I think it's more of a
Well,
mentality
you're
thing.
the type of person who can get on with someone you don't really know.
Oh, absolutely. And that's why when I give you my reasoning, it's nothing to do with meeting people because I can talk to anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can talk to
And
anyone.
but when you say that it's far and you don't know the culture and you don't know the environment, it sounds like it's because things are foreign. But you're good at making the foreign familiar.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe the way I'm saying it sounds that way, but honestly, usually it's just felt like the distance. But
Okay.
as I'm talking to you, I
Fair,
feel like you
fair.
could do that, you know.
You can do anything.
Oh,
I believe in you.
thank you. Give me the confidence.
But Busola, something I wanted to touch on today was what I said earlier about how I think you're great at being your authentic self and your personality shines, you know.
Oh,
How were you always, and sometimes this is a question I like to ask guests, but were you always like that? And were you always very confident in yourself? How did you
mm,
I mean, I don't know. I think confidence isn't something you're born with, it's something you
mm.
practice, but do you feel like it wasn't that much of a struggle for you, like just being yourself? I think you take up space really well.
Oh, thank
You're not
you.
show who you are.
Yeah, confidence. That's a funny one because I also think that sometimes people look at somebody or the way they interact with somebody and feel like they're confident in all areas or something like that, or just generally. I think one thing I would say in terms of confidence is over the year, I know who I am and I'm
Mm.
comfortable with who I am. Um, dare I say, I like the person that I am. I think I, because I try to, you know, be kind, be collaborative, work with others, that kind of thing. I think you need to know who you are and you need to be comfortable with who you are. I have always been an outgoing person. Um, I will talk to anybody, I can get along with most people, get along with everybody. But I think one thing that I maybe did, especially earlier in my career, was maybe minimize myself a little bit, because I can be so like extroverted. But what I've learned is you can still be who you are, but maybe you just bring out certain elements more than others, if that makes sense. So if you talk to any of my friends or family, they'll tell you I'm literally like, I just like to, have a good time. I love to have the jokiest time. I'm just not a serious person. I just like to have laughs with people, everything. And I think you can bring that to the workplace, but you just have to show up in a certain way. So you can still be yourself, but obviously we're in a professional environment. So you can't be like that all the time, if that makes sense. But it can work in a way that helps to bring more of a positive environment. Or, sometimes you can be the person that brings everyone together in a collaborative element.
Mm.
So I think it's about knowing who you are, but bringing the right elements at the right time, and being confident in who you are. And people might think it sounds cliche, but it is, when you live it, it is actually about, to a degree, being your authentic self. Nothing feels more depressing than feeling like you literally cannot be yourself. And that's why I think you need to know who you are, be comfortable with it, and know when to show up in different areas. So I think, yeah, that's how, and that's grown over time, I think, for me. Yeah.
Leveraging your
Yeah.
strengths and the aspects of your personality in the best way that you can, like in the right environments.
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's not like this strategic thing. It's sometimes just maybe reading the room, or, knowing when to do that. And as I say, I wouldn't say I go out of my way to think, right, I'm going to behave. No, it's just learning to, like, as I say, know when is appropriate, but just don't do some, don't behave in a way that is excessively minimizing yourself. You're not even the true, you're not even the true person that you are. And so that's why I think it's important to truly know who you are.
And how do you know who you are? How do you find out who you truly are?
Do you know what's funny? So I had a guest on my YouTube series a few weeks ago, and she's a coach, a fantastic coach. She coaches like executive leadership. And she said one of the first things she does when she gets a client is she gets them to write down their core values. And I was like, that's interesting. I don't think I've ever literally gone out of my way and written my core values. But when you know what your core values are, you know what you stand for, and those guide you. So for me, for instance, integrity, collaboration, trying to be creative, I think knowing those things, knowing the things that are important to me and using them to guide me, not just in my professional life, but actually my personal life. I think that really does help. And it's not till I actually had that conversation a few weeks ago that I think, again, it's something that guides me in my behavior anyway, because this is kind of who I am. But I think something practical like writing it down can also help. Yeah.
What are your values?
I actually think I gave them as examples, but they are what are important to me, like integrity. I think things like,
Oh, those ones, yeah.
yeah, like I feel like trust, especially for work, because I work in roles where you have, my role is one where you work with so many different people across so many different teams, across so many different business units. And so things like collaboration, building trust, having integrity, because I think those things are important to me, so that when I encounter situations, scenarios where I don't feel like that's being exercised, I need to remind myself that you still need to exercise them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I love that idea of starting by asking people what are your values.
Yeah.
'Cause everything you do is ultimately rooted, or everything you do should be rooted in your values.
Yeah. Yeah. Otherwise, what's important to you? How do you know? How do you
Yeah.
make decisions? Yeah.
And I feel like it's very up and coming as well now with career. People are wanting to align to their values more and more,
Yeah.
whereas, at least from people I've spoken to in older generations, you don't always, well, I guess it still stands today that people don't always have the choice.
Mm,
It's a privilege to be able to do something that aligns with your values. But
yeah.
to what extent do you think it's in your control
As in to align to your values.
with what you do? Yeah.
I think if it's about, I think the way you react to things and do things is to a degree completely in your control. So so for instance, if okay, just say this is a scenario. Just say I'm a salesperson, and just say I work with salespeople, or sorry, just say I'm in a sales team, and you have somebody that is, this is completely an example, by the way. This is not me going after any kind of like role. It's just an example. Just say you see people getting results in a way that is not with integrity. So maybe they're selling things or something, but by way of selling a dream or things just are not true or honest, it doesn't necessarily mean that because that's the way one person gets results, you too have to act that way, to do it that way. Um, you can still operate in a way that gets you the right result in a way that is aligned with your values, if that makes sense. So I, I say to that degree, you have control. I remember once, this was when you know, like when you have a part-time job. When I was at uni, I was I used to like work retail jobs, which was so fun actually, but at the time. And I remember a manager screaming at me in front of everybody. And I was in front of, I was a supervisor at the time, and he screamed at me in front of everyone. He lost it. And in front of people that I manage. And I was so taken aback. And my point being, again, when I say you have control, is I could have lost my cool and screamed back, but I didn't. I waited. I actually digested it. And then later, I think it was a few days later, I said, "Can I talk to you?" And then I calmly explained why it's inappropriate. I mean, he knows that it's inappropriate, but this is how I felt about you shouting, screaming in front of everybody. And I explained, some like the impact of that. If you're talking to me like that in front of people I manage, how will the people that I manage think they can talk to me? And so doing it that way was better, because it's sometimes not what you say, it's also how you say it and the tone you say it. So me being able to talk through it rationally, he apologized. That did not occur again. And I think for me, that is a good result, because I could have shouted back, as I say, but that's also just not in my character, especially like in a professional environment, to be screaming at people. So I think I think to a degree, how well you align with it is, it's fully in your control. What I would acknowledge is, and I think it's a slightly different issue, is if you're, say, in a toxic work environment or something that is detrimental to your well-being, then, or something that literally makes you go against everything you stand for, I think that's a wider issue, and sometimes one that many people find themselves in. And that's where you might have to end up making other plans. So, for instance, would one prefer to stay in a toxic environment where they they have to operate in a way that just is completely outside of what they view as right, or would you prefer to leave? But I say that with caveats, because one can't always just pick up and leave and go for. So there are different factors that you have to be aware of. But I say to a degree, I think a lot of it is in your control. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that example. And I think that's a great example of maybe there's things you can't control, but what you can control is the way you
Yeah.
react
Yeah.
and the way you respond to situations,
Yeah.
and keeping your cool is part of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that is an experience.
Ah, it
That's
was. I think I was traumatized. Got through it.
Was it, what kind of retail job was it?
In terms of, sorry, in terms of, it was,
Was it like a grocery store,
oh,
or
it was a toy store.
or was it on your placement at Toys R Us?
Yeah, it was in a toy store. Yeah, yeah. And it's funny because you see that and people think, oh my gosh, it's such an easy job. Yeah. Do you know what though?
They're
I learned
quite
so
efficient.
much. I learned so much on that, in that.
What's Speaking of learning, what's been the biggest lesson you've learned? Okay, that's a big question. So what's one of the biggest lessons you've learned across your career?
I mean, there's quite a few. But what's the biggest one? In fact,
Or one that comes to mind right now?
do you know one thing actually? Because I think it's changed the way I operate. Is nobody knows everything. So when you talk to people, I say that in a good way though. Like when I first like started my career, you go into a major organization and you're like, it's complex, highly, a lot of hierarchy, complex matrix. And you think, oh, everybody at the top knows everything, but they don't. Everybody is learning. Everybody, you come across people that are amazing. They have, they're subject matter experts, or, they are senior leadership. They're guiding the ship in terms of massive organizations. And so that is not me taking away from the things people accomplish, because one of the key things I've also learned is to lean on others and those that have walked the road ahead of you. But what I've realized is, don't be afraid to like it. I say that because it changes the way I operate in so many things. So I know nobody knows everything. So if you have a question, ask the question. If you're not sure of something, other people probably aren't sure either. Look for who might be able to help you. Don't be afraid to reach out to people, network with people, because at the end of the day, that is what we all are. We're people. Nobody knows everything. So just remember that. And when I remember those kind of things, as I say, that's when I'm not afraid to ask the questions. I'm always the person in the room that I don't even care if I think everybody else knows the answer. I'm still going to ask. And what I found half the time is most people didn't know the answer and they were happy that I asked. Networking, as I said, they're just people. They're probably learning them. Everyone's learning to a degree something themselves. Don't be afraid to network with people, reach out to people, get to know people. So I think, yeah, that also, I think changed, the way I operate, and has been one of my biggest things. I honestly used to think that if somebody is like, I don't know, CEO or director, they must know everything. But yeah, that everybody's just learning. I mean, as I say, there are experts, so I don't want to one thing doesn't negate the other. I'm just saying that, yeah, everybody's still, so take that and know that you too keep learning, keep pushing yourself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's so true. And that's also something that changed the game for me. So
Mm,
I agree with you. Because you expect people at the higher levels of the hierarchy to know more. And yeah, maybe they know more to an extent
yeah,
because they've had more experience and a lot of learning comes with experience. But everyone has a different life, and that means experiences are unique to us,
yeah,
right? So we're gonna learn things in our own way.
exactly.
So we always have something to share, and but that also means we have other things to learn. Like,
Mm,
for example, let's say we're doing the same role. Even if we're doing the same role, there's a lot I don't know that you would know because you're a different person and you're experiencing it in a different way.
yeah,
So even your perspective, like your mere perspective, is something I can learn, something I don't know.
exactly,
Um, so
exactly.
yeah, I like that. That's a really nice lesson,
Yeah,
and that's not actually a common one that people. Because I've asked a lot of people
uh,
what they've learned,
really.
and I don't always hear that. Oh, like I hear a lot that everyone is still figuring it out, but not always that no one really knows it all. So
Yeah. I was going to ask you, what's the most common one you've heard?
oh, I would say something big I hear always is to network.
Okay.
Everyone's always like network hard.
Yeah. Well, and that it's true, but part of why, and that's why I say it, part of why I'm able to network goes back to actually that big learning that nobody knows it all. Don't be afraid to approach people. Do you know what's funny? Even the people at at, I say this for want of a better word, or in senior positions, some have a mentor. They too have a mentor. They too have somebody guiding them. So that's why I continue to say to myself, not everybody knows everything. So just don't be afraid to reach out, get a
Yeah.
mentor, ask the questions that you think people are afraid, that you're afraid to ask, but then you realize that nobody knew the answer anyway. So they're happy you asked. So yeah, I think that's the big one.
If anything, I feel like everyone should have a
Yeah.
mentor because, like, uh, especially like the CEOs, I hear like lots of them have coaches. There's many executive
Yeah.
coaches, and you need that helping. You need that other perspective to to have another ear, like a fresh pair of eyes, right?
Absolutely.
When you're making a big decision, and um, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we've learned a lot today. We've discussed a lot today, Busola. But before we wrap up, I would love for you to share with the audience what, how do you think, how would you recommend that people spread their serotonin today?
Oh, serotonin, so like bringing happiness
The,
or
the
something.
happiness kind of thing.
Oh, do you know what? I would say if everybody just reached out to at least one person and tell them something great that they've done, or something that you really appreciate or admire about them. I think sometimes, yeah, unexpectedly, that honestly, doing that little thing can really make a big difference for people. Yeah.
Are you gonna do that after this?
Yeah, do you know what's funny? I honestly feel like and I don't just say this, kind of live that. I actually love to champion others. If I see people doing great things, because I just love to see it. I just love, like, I tell you all the time, like, I genuinely am so impressed by all the things I see you doing, Seema. I'm like, I swear, I wasn't doing half of what you're doing when I was interning. I'm just so impressed by the things that I see you do. And
Oh, bless.
yeah, honestly, it's true. And so I just, I think it's
I
good.
appreciate you.
Oh no, that's fine. But I think it's good to just let people know,
Mm-hmm.
when they've done something good, or something that you admire or that you like about them.
Yeah.
I think it makes all the difference, and it's true as well. So yeah.
Mhm. I appreciate you, and I'm very proud of you too. And you inspire me, as I always tell you, but you do. And I look forward to the rest of Trailblazer.
Oh, thank you.
Everyone, check it out. The sun is being a bit weird now, like it's like
Oh yeah, I
setting
can
a
see
bit.
on your side it's kind of changing.
So excuse that, but yes, thanks for coming on today as a guest, Busola. And any final words to the audience?
Um, do you know what? Maybe that can be a call to action, right? It's something I'm going to do. But if anybody has actually watched this, go out there and tell somebody something amazing that they've done, or something great about themselves. And also, do you know what? Sometimes that self reflection on yourself, big yourself up as well. Think about all of the great things that you've done. Yeah, and celebrate the small wins. It's not just the big wins. Celebrate the small wins too. Yeah.
Love it. There you go, everyone. Hype yourself up and hype someone else up
Yeah.
today.
Spread the serotonin.
Yes, we hope you enjoyed spreading some serotonin with us today. Take care, everyone, and bisous.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.